Security sector experts call for regional crime mapping in southeast Nigeria. State Chief Judge cautions lawyers against disregard of rule of law. Police nabs 25-year-old man who hacked father to death in Enugu. On the foreign scene, Honduran court sentences 7 persons to 30-year imprisonment over murder of award-winning environmentalists. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News this morning. I am David Okwasili. Governor William Obiano has inaugurated the 2018 Anambra State Trade Fair and Dry Season Farming. The fair, organized by the State Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture, Mechanization, Processing and Export at the Chubai Bazu Sports Stadium on Nature, has its themes as promoting economic development through manufacturing, trade and agriculture, and our action is our future. Zero hunger is possible. Government House correspondent Eji Kabana reports that different agri-stakeholders attended the event with various farm produce.
Inaugurating the event, Governor Obiano said that the two themes share a common concern about agriculture and hunger, which clearly confirm that agribusiness is a great avenue to achieving economic development and stability for a sustained future. The governor stated that major performance indicators point to a positive growth in the 2018 wet planting season, with over 1,000 new farmers duly registered within 7 months, bringing the number from 109,137 in 2017 to 110,144 farmers, while calling on Anambra to take advantage of the agric revolution in the state and apply for loans. The governor pointed out that rice production rose from 244,235 metric tons in 2016 to 345,000 metric tons in 2017 and stands at 440,000 metric tons by the end of 2018. While cassava production shot up from 1,792,596 in 2016 to 1,881,589 metric tons in 2017, and maize production increased from 39,902 to 43,521 metric tons in the last planting season, which evidently increased land utilization due to influx of more people into the agriculture sector.
Anambra, when I look at the trends of our national economy, I feel justified in my decision to make agriculture the #1 pillar of my preference. As a pursuit of this, we have set out on putting our efforts to mechanize agriculture in 2019. We have made adequate arrangements to provide more access to capital-intensive farm machinery like tractors and other equipment of our farmers. To achieve this, we have finalized plans to invest the sum of 1.5 billion to develop over 5,000 hectares of land within our community.
The Commissioner for Trade and Commerce, Dr. Christian Madubuko, said that the fair provides a platform for Anambra and investors to showcase their products and services, while the Commissioner for Agriculture, Mechanization, Processing and Export, Mr. Afam Mbanefo, stressed that activities and efforts in the ministry now gears towards increased promotion of agriculture as a business.
Thank the Executive Governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Chief Dr. Willie Obiano, for his usual support to this type of occasion and promoting development in Anambra State.
The fact that you are a very good supporter of collaboration, and the reason why we've decided to collaborate as a ministry with Ministry of Commerce and Industry and ANSIPA is because we think agribusiness. And Your Excellency, for the fact that the things that we have done and what we have asked us and promised us and supported us to do is gearing towards developing agriculture as a business.
The chairman, Anambra Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Mr. Humphrey Ngonade, represented by Mr. Uche Apakama, applauded the tax incentives of the governor but expressed worry about touts who, according to him, flout the directive and called for total enforcement.
To thank His Excellency for the tax incentives provided in Anambra State, but at the same time we are worried about the touts who harass people who come in for commercial activity in Anambra State. We believe that the agency has made the statement, but yet it's not been enforced fully. They will request the Excellency to get the security agency to ensure that all the towns who collect tolls along the roads and markets stop the activities. That's our prayer, Your Excellency.
The chairman, Trade Fair Planning Committee, Sir Chris Okachukwu, said that the choice of Onitsha as the venue for the event is strategic because it is the largest commercial city in the Southeast and West Africa. From the Chuba Bazu Stadium, Onitsha, Ejike Abana, ABS News.
And in the security sector, Governor Willie Obiano says effective and efficient security architecture is the key to unlocking the potentials of the Southeast region as the Southeast Regional Security Management course ends in Awka. The event drew participants from various security agencies in Nigeria, the clergy and other stakeholders. Correspondent Chibuzo Okoye completes the story.
The course aims to promote and encourage multi-stakeholders cooperation within the Southeast state governments in programming for activities that focus on the development of local and regional security architecture, prevention of crime, and building collaborative efforts in the management of internal security in the Southeast region. Governor Willie Obiano, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Solochu Ulobel, in a closing remark said that security is top on the agenda of his administration. Hence, the reason he organized a security summit within 30 days he assumed office as the governor of the state, which ideas generated at the end of the summit gave birth to Operation Pochap. Governor Obiano, who reiterated the need for synergy among the 5 eastern states to effectively police the region, urged participants to utilize all the knowledge garnered at the course to strengthen the security of the region.
We also know that Anambra State has been adjured by several other people to be the safest state in Nigeria today. Indeed, beyond Nigeria, because only 2 weeks ago, His Excellency received an award. We didn't know this was going on from as far away as Dakar, judged as the best governor in West Africa and Sahel on security.
Delivering a lecture, the Provost, Air Force Institute of Technology, Kaduna, Professor Emmanuel Ezugu, made a case for crime mapping of the Southeast region, but revealed that no substantial advancement can be made without a policy framework that spells out tactical, strategic, and administrative goals and objectives of the security management of the Southeast region. Professor Ezugu made it clear that sustainable security management of the region cannot be achieved through isolated efforts and struggle for relevance, and called for restructuring of the security outfits in Nigeria.
Effective crime mapping for the Southeast region therefore cannot be obtainable without a proper geospatial location of security outfits for accurate crime reporting and promptness in response to reports whenever crimes are being perpetrated. Technology for crime mapping. However, we are yet to channel our resources in the right place that guarantees sustenance of our national development, namely security.
The Superintendent General and Commandant of Operation Clean and Healthy Anambra, Mr. Patrick Obiefuna, opined that viable steps must be taken to strengthen the security apparatus of the Southeast region, even as he said that poverty, marginalization, and unemployment breeds insecurity.
The Southeast region has not experienced any major terrorist attacks since the advent of terrorist attacks in some other regions of Nigeria. In this backdrop, that the joint efforts of the Southeast region government and other relevant private-public organizations becomes expedient. Potential areas that could be attacked in the region and are requiring robust protection include key government infrastructure, such as government buildings, security, and educational institutions.
The Southeast Regional Security Management Course has its theme as protecting the Southeast region in the age of catastrophic terrorism. In Awka, it's been Chibuzo Okoye for ABS News.
We move from there to over 100 walking impaired persons who can now sigh a huge relief as the wife of the governor, Dr. Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, presented them with brand new wheelchairs at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. The wheelchairs came in various sophistications and designs to suit the degree of impairment of the beneficiaries, with a total of 1,800 donators so far. Correspondent Daniel Ezigwe reports that the governor's wife was joined in the presentation by her husband, Chief Willie Obiano. His report is taken from our studios.
Speaking on the occasion, Governor Willie Obiano emphasized the need for those who have the wherewithal to always show a sense of compassion to the downtrodden through practical benevolence. He said that over 260 physically challenged persons in the state with necessary work and academic qualifications have been shortlisted for immediate integration into the state's workforce.
A disabled fellow that requires work. If you have gone to school, we must give you work. I told Ezeude that. So the files he talked about 270 people are waiting employment. I'll be very delighted to see and make sure that those guys come in.
The governor's wife, who said the aim of the presentation of the wheelchairs was to trigger productivity among those who cannot walk by eliminating demeaning results to destitution, noted that about 2,000 more wheelchairs would be presented in due course. She also used the occasion to note that about 300 persons without limbs who had been measured to ascertain their various limb sizes would soon receive the products.
My only plea to those of the beneficiaries today is to ensure that you use these wheelchairs for your own good. Use it to move around, go to work, do whatever you can do with it, but please don't go to the streets to beg for alms.
Earlier in their respective addresses, the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Disability Matters, Barrister Chuks Ezeuzie, and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Social Welfare, Children and Women Affairs, Dr. Azo Kaufomata, said the donation of the wheelchairs, amid other all-persons inclusive policies, have put the present administration in the limelight of human history. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Indigenous Medicine and Herbal Practice, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim, and the All Progressives Grand Alliance ABGA State Woman Leader, Lady Chinwe Ibenta, said the initiative is a strong supplement to the landmark successes of the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative CAFE in giving palpable hope to the indigent in the society. The State Chairman of the Joint Association of Persons Living with Disabilities, Mr. Lawrence Wanolue, said the governor's wife's relationship with persons living with disabilities has been exceptional, and added that the inclusion of these people in governance has eliminated the threat of self-devaluation.
Our prayers is that God will continue to contend against any forces that is contending against your administration. God will continue to bless you. God will continue to elevate you.
The 2018 Bar Week of the Nigerian Bar Association Oka branch has commenced with a call on lawyers to be promoters of honesty and peace. The State Chief Judge Justice Peter Umadi made the call while declaring open the week. Ekwe Ajide was there and now reports.
Opened the 24th Law Week with the theme, Separation of Powers for Sustainable Democracy. Justice Umadi charged legal practitioners to always apply decency in their practice. He decried the attitude of some legal practitioners who, according to him, have no respect for the rule of law and called for attitudinal change.
I am proud of you, and I want you to maintain that. And I want you to continue to try and become better than the premier bar. In
a remark, the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dr. Ujunwogu, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mrs. Theresa Obiekwe, said that the state government is committed to ensuring that justice prevails at all times. On his part, Professor Ofonze Amuchazi of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, who was a guest speaker at the event, maintained that democracy thrives in certain fundamental assumptions, which include the principles of separation of power amongst the three arms of government, total obedience to the rule of law, respect for citizens' rights and liberties, among others.
Related and mutually reinforcing principles guard against arbitrary and capricious exercise of power, and protect citizens from abuse.
Earlier, the chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association Oka branch, Mr. Gabriel Moneke, and the chairman on the occasion, Professor Iluchoka for SAN, described democracy as a system where all aspires to evolve and sustain a decent society in all ramifications.
I congratulate every member of the Oka Bar for our commitments to the project of Oka Bar, which commitments are driven by our collective resolve and zeal to make the Oka Bar of today greater than the Oka Bar of yesterday.
Democracy is not an end to itself. Democracy is a means to an end.
In Oka, Ekwi Ajide, ABS News.
The 6th annual conference of the Chaplain Corps Policing Explorers, CHAPOL, has ended in Oka with a call on students to shun all acts capable of derailing them from paths of moral rectitude. This year's conference, with the theme Separated from the Crowd, attracted students of the 257 public schools in Anambra and other nearby states. Correspondent Theophilus Ukoha is standing by with the report.
Executive Chairman, Post-Primary School Service Commission, PPSSC, Lady Joy Olase, charged students to shun all immoral tendencies as it will deter them from becoming the expected exemplary leaders of tomorrow. Lady Olase commended members of the Chaplain Corps Policing Explorers, CHAPOL, Anambra State Command, for their pragmatic efforts on instilling moral values on students and for contributing immensely to the reduction of moral decadence and other social vices among students in Anambra State.
To know how to shun bad company, that's association. To know how to stand up in a crowd while others are doing what is wrong, you are there. You remember that you always do what is right, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing. And you have learned also to shun cultism. Because these are what are prevalent in our different schools.
On her part, the Permanent Secretary, Post-Primary Schools Management Board, Enugu State, Evangelist Favor Ogwani, while talking on the topic, the effect of cultism in our society, said, no cultist lives long enough to impact positively to the society. Quoting Exodus chapter 23, verse 24, emphasized the dangers of cultism to include untimely deaths, living in fear, and other social vices.
The reason why so many of you should not venture into that in your school is because not just that you have the pension and gratitude of your parents. You know, you can brag, you are strong, you are courageous. So they have their choice of people most of the time. You was able to escape them, school in that school. Instead of joining them, he wants souls unto Christ.
Other speakers, Pastor Mrs. Ivi Ugoma Amobi, Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Anambra State on Tertiary Education, Dr. Gloria Ogogwa, and her counterpart on Secondary Education, Dr. Paul Ifani, challenged the students to always be identified by their good deeds. The chairman on the occasion, Mr. Humphrey Gonadi, in his speech, chronicled the road to success in life as hard work, self-sacrifice, dedication, and honesty.
Wealth is knowledge and wisdom imparted. That's what Ekwi will demand. That can take you to wherever you want to be in life is the amount of knowledge you gather. And how do you gather the knowledge in school?
Earlier in his address, the State Commander, Chaplain Corps Policing Explorer, CHAPOL, Mr. Joseph Ekunife, x-rayed the journey of the Corps since 2013 to include efforts to combat and possibly eradicate moral decadence and other social vices among students of public schools in the state, and appealed to government and other stakeholders for more financial support in their mandate to build a moral society. This year's conference had in attendance representatives of Chairman Anambra State College of Pentecostal Bishops, Chairman Christian Association of Nigeria CAN, among others. Theophilus Okoha reporting for ABS News.
The Enugu State Police Command has commenced investigations into the alleged killing of a man identified as Ostanwachukwu by his son, Chibike. The command spokesman, Mr. Ebara Amarizu, superintendent of police, made this known in a statement yesterday in Enugu. Amarizu said that the incident occurred at about 5:30 a.m. yesterday at Enugu Agu village in Amori community in Nkanu West local government area. According to him, the alleged suspect, identified as Chibike Nwachukwu, about 25 years old, allegedly hacked his father, Mr. Ostanwachukwu, who is about 60 years old, to death with a machete over a yet-to-be-established issue. He said the alleged incident has thrown the entire Amori community into mourning. Amarizu stated that the suspect has been nabbed by the police and was already helping the command in investigation of the matter. He said that the body of the deceased had been deposited in a hospital mortuary in the community for autopsy. It was indeed a celebration of multiple blessings from God for the family of High Chief Michael Emenika Anekwena from Umueri, Eziaba village, Aba, as he rolled out the drums to celebrate his also title taking with the grand opening of his house. The event attracted the who is who to Aba community, including government functionaries, traditional rulers, community leaders, friends and business associates of the celebrants who came to rejoice with the chairman of Anambra Group in a grand ceremony he tagged the Ubi Day. Details is from our studio.
The Ubi Day celebration, according to High Chief Emenike Anekwena, was a Thanksgiving day to mark the traditional Ozo title taken from his community, Aba, as well as the numerous other chieftaincy titles from other communities, the new house, and other blessings of God in his family over the years. High Chief Anekwena maintained that Ubi Day will be celebrated annually in the next 5 years for Aba community in particular and Nigeria at large.
After today, I will be there like more 5 years.
On her part, the wife of the celebrant, Lola Adobi Morin Anekwena, observed that God has been immensely gracious to her family, pointing out that she's returning all the glory to God as the author and finisher of all that is good.
Chieftaincy title enyegase monadi Ubi Day bụ afadi mozalo deka Ubi na-emenni na-aba.
Also speaking, a grand uncle of the celebrant, Professor James Nwoye Adichie, described High Chief Emenike Anekwena as a worthy son of Aba who has distinguished himself at a young age to be multiply honored and recognized in both his hometown and beyond. He urged him to remain a shining example of a young traditional title holder. Other dignitaries at the occasion, including the traditional ruler of Obunike, Igwe John Umenyora, members of the Electrical Dealers International Market, Obosi, such as the former chairman of the union, Chief Innocent Mojeku, and Chief Innocent Atoka, Chief Anthony Ozo from Osumohu, and Ike Ezedike of Aba, in their respective comments, congratulated the celebrant on his multiple titles and charged him to use his wealth to work for his community and help the poor around him. Presentation of gifts by Omenife 8th grade, Aba Committee of Friends, and Ama for Welfare Union, among other groups, cutting of the cake, dance by the celebrant and his wife, masquerade displays and cultural dances added color to the events. From Aba, Njide Ezonyejak reporting for ABS News.
And on now to business news. Between January and August, the federal government recorded a fiscal deficit of 1.14 trillion naira in its operation figures obtained from the Budget Office of the Federation. The 2018 budget, which was signed by President Muhammadu Buhari, had a total spending of 9.1 trillion naira, made up of 2.87 trillion naira for capital expenditure, 3.51 trillion naira for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while 2 trillion was projected to be spent on debt servicing. The 9.1 trillion naira budget was expected to be financed from 2.99 trillion naira to be generated from oil revenue. That's 1.25 billion naira from Nigeria liquefied natural gas dividend, while 1.17 billion is expected to be realized through revenue from minerals and mining. To fund the budget, the federal government had planned to generate 658.55 billion from companies' income tax, 207.51 billion from value-added tax, 324.86 billion from customs, while 57.87 billion was expected to come from federation account levies. The government was expected to raise 847.95 billion through independent revenue from its agencies, while tax amnesty income, signature bonus, and unspent balance from previous years were to provide 87.84 billion, 114.3 billion, and 250 billion respectively. Details of the performance of the 2018 budget, which was captured in the 2019 budget call circular, showed that as of the end of August, the federal government's actual revenue was 2.48 trillion naira. The budget circular, which was signed by the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udo Udoma, noted that the 2.848 trillion actual revenue represented about 52% of the 4.78 trillion pro data budget. It attributed the shortfall of 48% to underperformance of both oil and non-oil revenue sources. A Honduran court has found 7 people guilty of the murder of prize-winning indigenous and environmental rights activist Berta Cáceres in 2016, while acquitting an 8th suspect in the case that has drawn international attention. In a unanimous ruling released yesterday, 3 judges found that Elvin Rapallo, Henry Hernandez, Adelson Duterte, and Oscar Gales carried out the killing of Cáceres, who was shot inside her home in La Esperanza in western Honduras, 1 year after winning the Goldman Environmental Prize for her leadership against dam projects. A dam project. They face up to 30 years in prison for the murder conviction. Their sentencing is scheduled for January 10. The judges issued guilty verdicts and lesser charges for Army officer Mariano Diaz, former soldier Douglas Bustillo, and Sergio Rodriguez, a manager of the let's take that again. The judges issued guilty verdicts on lesser charges for Army officer Mariano Diaz, former soldier Douglas Bustillo, and Sergio Rodriguez, a manager of Aqua Zekra hydroelectric project, which Cáceres had opposed. Emerson Duterte, Adelson brother, was acquitted. He had been accused of covering up the crime. The ruling did not satisfy Cáceres' family, which wants those behind the killing to be prosecuted as well. Roberto David Castillo Mejia, who was the executive president of DESA, the company leading the construction work when Cáceres was killed, has been accused by prosecutors of organizing the logistics for the killing. And now in sports, it has been discovered that an Irish amateur club, Ballybrack FC, announced the death of one of its players in order to get the match postponed. Ballybrack FC was due to play Arklow Town in Ireland's Leicester Senior League last Saturday, but the match was called off after the club announced that one of the club's foreign players, Spaniard Fernando Nuno Lafuente, had died in a terrible car accident, reports Radio O Telefis Iran. The entire league was stunned by the news. Minutes of silence were held before the beginning of all other matches. Players wore black armbands in memory of Lafuente, and some teams even expressed their condolences on social media. However, the league officials soon found out that Fernando Nuna Lofunte's alleged death had been a ruse to get them to postpone the game with Aklo Town. The lie came apart when the league got in touch with Lafunte Club to see if there was anything they could do to help and if they could get in touch with his family to express their condolences. The response from Ballybrack FC made everyone very suspicious. League chairman David Moran said things started to unravel when they followed up on Monday to see if they could get in touch with the last family and see if there was anything they could do. Lafunte said that his full-time employer, a software company, had simply relocated him from Dublin to Galway. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. You can like us at www.facebook.com/absradiotelevision. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at absradiotv. And that is the news for this morning. But before we go, the main points again. Security sector experts have called for regional crime mapping in Southeast Nigeria. Anambra State Chief Judge has cautioned lawyers against disregard of rule of law. Police have nabbed 25-year-old man who hacked father to death in Enugu. On the foreign scene, we brought you that Honduran court has sentenced 7 persons to 30-year imprisonment over murder of award-winning environmentalist. And that is the news. On behalf of the team here, I am David Okpokwasile. The Weekend Show is up next.